Battlerite is an arena brawler game by Stunlock Studios. It first showed up on early access in September 2016 for around $30, before going free to play a year later in November 2017. While it had great initial reviews and promises of improvement, it however didn't last. Why? And what was the reason it died? Well, that's what I'm here to explain. While the server is still running, officially the studio announced in an update on July 3rd, 2019 called The Future of Battlerite, where they talk about their successes and failures, how they're now stopping the support of the game and focusing on future projects. Once development for MMO is over, it's basically in life support mode, aka dead. But first, let's get a look at what Battlerite is and its storied history. The story of Battlerite begins before Battlerite actually existed. Before Battlerite in the year 2011, Stunlock Studios released a game called Bloodline Champions. It was published at Funcom and was released with its great initial success with promise of improvement, before petering out. A very familiar pattern. Bloodline Champions were released during a time before the big MOBAs. You might be wondering if these two communities even interacted. I would have to say yes. For some reason, the game was marketed as a mobile online battle arena. But it's different from what you would be familiar with, like League of Legends, Heroes and Newer, Dota 2. These all feature creeps with buildings, a farming stage. Bloodline Champions pit two teams against each other, and depending on the mode selected, your objectives differ slightly. Basically, you want to kill each other. Sometimes it involves capturing flags or domination, but the main selling point was the arena, with 3v3 being the default tournament mode and the most popular matchmaking mode. Bloodline Champions was launched free to play, with the option to spend to buy costumes or a champion. Think League of Legends. Each week will have a rotation of one champion of each type: a melee, tank, range, and healer. The gameplay itself plays much differently from being a normal MOBA. For starters, it's not a MOBA game. Despite how much they market it as a MOBA, it wasn't a MOBA game. Calling a MOBA gives people a completely different idea. Perhaps it was this inconsistent, confused identity that led to its unpopularity. It was a top-down arena game, or arena brawler, similar games being the more recent Curse-Spell, which is a 3D arena game. Two teams enter, one team leaves. Simple. The arena is a closed area with walls and bridges and pillars. These are used for line of sight purposes, and the game controls like a twin stick shooter. You have a full 360 degree aiming while moving with your WASD keys. The game was designed with one thing in mind: hardcore, pure skill gameplay with no RNG. All attacks, all abilities, all healings, all skills will do the exact same amount every single time you use it, whether from you or from your opponent. Skills are often heavily telegraphed visually and audibly, with the most dangerous and powerful ones being loud and obvious. The most obvious example in this is Gunner's snipe ability. It's a loud, arena-wide charge-up sound, doom 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 doom, where she stands in place, aiming her gun in a direction for a few seconds. This makes it easy for you or your opponent to use their iframe or evasion ability to avoid it. Or, since this game is entirely skill shot based, simply walk at the last moment. A very overlooked skill in this game is just simply moving. How efficient you are in your movement and your positioning can make or break the game. So, how are you supposed to land your abilities if people can just avoid it that easily? Simple. Fake cast and teamwork. Make it so they can't avoid it. Bait their escape. Chain your crowd controls. Use more than one threat. Force them to leap out of the frying pan and into the fire. The game is easy to pick up and extremely hard to master, but it was fair. When you lose, you know it's because you got outplayed. Sure, you can blame your teammate, but a lot of fights come down to multiple 1v1s going on at the same time. It's similar to a fighting game in a way. If everyone has the same tools, it all comes down to skill, and you will lose a lot in this game. I'm not gonna lie about it. You will get stomped until you learn. But when you learn, the game is so satisfying to play. You end up in a state of nirvana, dodging skill shots left and right, landing everything you click. You'll never have to worry if the enemy farmed more gear than you, or if they went raiding and got legendary Illidan blades and blow up your warrior in 2 seconds. Yeah, that happened. So, why did this fail then? Was its difficulty too hard? Was the marketing bad? Was it boring? It was a combination of many things. For starters, there wasn't much marketing for this game, and it was generally unknown. There was a push for esports, slightly. It even showed up in DreamHack, but the hype for the game died down pretty quickly. The game was also not monetized very well. The grind to get more champions was insane. I know free-to-play games need to dangle that carrot to get people to grind or pay up, but if the carrot is too far away, the players lose interest. It's a fine balance that the game did not do well. And finally, the biggest issue that drove a lot of players out. Patch 2.0, Dawn of Relics. Release in September 2011, just months after our official free-to-play launch. What happened here? It followed League of Legends talent trees and rune pages. It also completely ruined the whole pure skill gameplay design that they started with. You are no longer on equal footing. Those who spend the money or grind more will automatically have a power boost over you, regardless of skill. This exacerbated the grind to an even more insane level. You not only need to grind champions, but you need to grind relics? What happened next was generally unknown to me because I wasn't around. But the player base eventually dwindled down and the updates stopped. But what really killed it was the launch of Battlerite. Battlerite was a self-published spiritual successor to Bloodline Champions, with the exact same design philosophy that the original game had, a fast-paced arena brawler based on skills with no RNG. The game had a slightly slowed down pacing to the game, with most matches going down to sudden death, where a death zone starts creeping in for the edge of the map until everything's covered. This death zone will deal damage the longer someone inside it, so one strategy is to push them into it with your skills. But it was still a fast-paced, high-skill game. So, did the developers learn anything from their mistakes? In some ways, yes. They never repeated a Bloodline Champions patch 2.0. Although they still have buying champions as currency, but they made the grind better, supposedly. I personally bought the early access version, which gave me every champion, so I never had to do the grind myself, so I can't give my opinion on it. They also added loot boxes for costumes because, why not? Loot boxes are all the rage these days. The game had many promises, with a tournament mode in development since the start, similar to the one in Bloodline Champions. These are run automatically, think Battle Cup for Dota. They also launch with self-capture the flag or domination, also a small champion pool compared to its predecessor, which promises more content coming. Then there was the Battlerite Pro League, which eventually dwindled out and was cancelled. They lacked focus. They were chasing trends while being the trendsetter. No other game out there was like them and they didn't know what to do. Instead, they wanted mass market appeal. They were not satisfied with a small but loyal player base. I compared this game earlier to a fighting game, and they are pretty much the same thing. These are very niche titles with steep learning curves that will not appeal to most people. Fighting games are going through the exact same thing currently. Many are dumbing down the game and casualizing the game in hopes of mass appeal. Chasing esports, chasing casuals. The problem here is, it won't change anything. Dumbing down games will not make weaker players win more. The better players will always adapt and it just makes it worse for the current players. The players that enjoy the game will spend the time to learn it. The only one with mass market appeals is Super Smash Bros. And it's not even a real fighting game. Arguably, they call it a party game. Starlock Studio decided the best way to appeal to casuals was to make a completely different game out of the current game. They decided to make a battle royale. What? That was my first reaction as well. You have a game that's lacking players. Instead of marketing and appealing to these players, you decided to shaft all the existing players by creating a new game mode that will split the player base? That will halt updates on the arena mode so they can focus on a battle royale mode that nobody wanted? And they were charging money for the battle royale mode? That was the last straw for me. I quit right there and never returned. Until recently, I found out it has stopped development entirely, and it was a surprise. They learned nothing. They chased trends. They chased how other games are done, not realizing they were sitting on something great already. I love this game. It brings the same rush as fighting games for me. I'm not good at them, but each time I play, I see myself improve. I see myself get better, and that growth was addictive. When you learn the timing of your skills, when you land that perfect skill shot that wins you the game. But no, the game was not meant to be. There might never be another Battlerite or Bloodline Champions again. Both these games are alive and on Steam still, but they're completely shoved to the side and forgotten by the developers. Will it make a comeback? Not unless the developers do something about it. And if they don't, the game is dead and we should just move on. This game had an amazing premise, but the developer was too busy chasing trends, trying to latch onto a crumbling esports scene. The game barely had a few thousand concurrent players, and they wanted an esports tour that took place from North America to Europe to South Korea? I don't know if this was arrogance or pure ignorance. They expected the game to become massive, the next League of Legends. They kept moving further and further away from the initial premise of the game, and that's what killed Battlerite. The pursuit of money and the lack of skills to do so. It was said right there in their final post. They were unable to make money with this game. That's why it's dead.